aircraft was actually being flown by the co-pilot who was the pilot flying, and the pilot monitoring was the pilot in command. So it is again not clear that who has given the call. It is very easy from the CVR analysis that who was talking. That has again not been spelled out in the preliminary report. Also what they have said that the fuel control switches have transitioned, so thereby giving an indication there could have been an electrical or electronic software glitch which has caused this malfunction to occur. That it is picking up that the fuel control switch is cut off and it is to run without physically the switch having been moved. There was an advisory issued by the Boeing company in 2018 in December, in which they had issued an advisory circular quoting few examples of 737 aircraft in which there was a malfunction in the fuel control switches locking system. Now, if that information was available with Boeing and they wanted serious investigation, then all the aircraft should have been tested, checked, and this circular should have been a directive rather than an advisory circular. This was not done. So I do not foresee that the fuel control switches have moved until unless the pilots have come to know that there is a dual engine failure and which is causing the loss of thrust, and for that reason the recycling would have been done. But the CVR recording is on the contrary, that they have not moved the switches. So it points fingers at the problem in the electronic system. So the report has given a clean sheet and said there's nothing wrong with the engines and the systems of Boeing. Whereas there are a lot of questions which need to be answered, and investigation will come forward later on that what happened actually after the aircraft rotated. How were the engines behaving? Because it has reached an acceleration speed of 180 knots at 0.0842 seconds, and at 52 seconds, after 10 seconds, the engine fuel control switches have been recycled, or it has picked up that signal as per the DFDR that they have transitioned. So it is quite clear that the landing gear was not taken up and the flaps were found in the takeoff position. There was a malfunction which could have been occurring in the aircraft, which has mandated for the movement of the fuel control switches in case the pilots have moved, or if there is a electrical problem, then it would have presumed that the switches have been moved to cut off and run. So I hope in the further investigations by the investigation team, these questions are answered and they come to a logical conclusion as to what has happened during this phase. And the transcript of the CVR should be very clear that who was giving these voice commands. And also it is in our training we teach the pilots that in cases whenever the fuel control switch is cut off, it is a challenge and response. So the pilot flying says fuel control switch left, the other pilot concurs it, then the pilot flying says cut off, and again it is concurred by the pilot monitoring. So this has again not come out clearly whether these commands have been given, and so it is still a mystery, and no conclusive evidence is coming out of the prelim inquiry about these actions and the health of the engine.
Yeah, good evening. Firstly, we are surprised that the statement was released in the middle of the night at around 1:30, and it carries nobody's signature. Nobody is responsible for that, and it's a very irresponsible way of putting out such an important report. We've always maintained that you should have some kind of transparency, and the personnel involved in these investigations should be specialists. They should be pilots, there should be engineers, there should be other facets of subject matter experts who should come in and contribute, or should be invited to contribute. Now you have put out something which is more confusing than when it started off, and it clearly indicates that the pilot is at fault without telling that the pilot is at fault. And the entire media has taken it up, so much so that people are even saying it's a deliberate act of sabotage slash suicide. This is what we were saying is irresponsible, and this would lead to further speculations among the public.